Hi guys, welcome back to Nyx Reads. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe if you love watching bookish content and give this video a thumbs up if you like listening to audiobooks. It's been 3 years since I gave you guys a list of audiobook recommendations, so I figured it's time to update this list with 8 fiction audiobooks that have something special and I think they're worth it to listen to instead of reading a physical copy or the digital copy. If you're watching this and you still think that audiobook listening does not count as reading, then you've probably never sat through a 20+ hour nonfiction audiobook before. My first suggestion is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This book has been making the rounds in the last years, and yes, it is as good as everybody is saying. And I particularly really recommend the audiobook for this. I haven't read the physical book, and yet it still made it to a 5-star book. Yellowface is comical, satirical, honestly pretty mean, and just so good. Our unlikable main character is June Hayward. She is an aspiring author, and she is kind of a frenemy of Athena Liu, who, in contrary to herself, is a very well-decorated, well-known published author. And one night, in a very much freak accident, Athena dies before her eyes. And instead of just, calling the police or calling 911 and grieving, she actually seizes this opportunity, June, and steals an unpublished manuscript that Athena just finished. It is this absolutely brilliant manuscript about Chinese laborers that go unsung during World War I. There's an obstacle though. While Athena Liu is Asian, and it's easy to figure out why she wrote this book, June Hayward is a Caucasian woman. She's a white woman. And in order to sell this book better, she takes on this racially ambiguous name of Juniper Song, shoots a very racially ambiguous looking headshot, and kind of sells herself as an Asian writer. In other words, we have a very much not politically correct main character. She's very much delulu and just completely self-absorbed. No self-reflection whatsoever. So it is so fitting that the narrator of this audiobook, whose name is Helen Laser, her voice is just so snarky. And it is such a fitting tone for this audiobook because you just want to wring June's neck, and the narrator just does such a good job in conveying this absolutely nasty main character. Next up, we have Inheritance by Nora Roberts. This is the first book that I ever read or listened to by this author, and this is part of the Lost Bride trilogy. This is book number 1. I have read the first 2 books, and now I'm waiting to get a hold on the 3rd audiobook. I want to say that a big part of the reason why I am going through this series, why I'm loving these books, is because of the audiobook narration. It is narrated by Brittany Pressley. I don't know what it is, but I am obsessed with her voice and the way that she speaks, her enunciations. It is just such a hug and treat to listen to these audiobooks. These are cozy paranormal stories with some romance in them, and they have the most dreamy setting. Our main character is Sonia McTavish. She is in her 20s. She just got out of a relationship, or out of an engagement, I should say, because a family member slept with her fiance. Then she's also switching jobs. She's actually building her own company for the first time in her life. And also she learns that her father actually had a twin brother. He is now deceased, and for some reason he left something to her. She's now the proud owner of a Victorian mansion on the Maine coast. That is the setting. It is great, extremely cozy. Little does she know is this house haunted by the brides of this family. These women were killed by something or someone on their wedding day. This book is the perfect match between the mystery of it all, but also just cozy day-to-day life. If you've ever been obsessed with a series and started making up these fan fiction stories in your head about what these characters maybe just do on their day-to-day lives, this is basically it. We follow Sonia and very important women in her life just building out her company, renovating, gardening, things like that. So just, yeah, very cozy content. And obviously she also meets someone, so there's a bit of romance in there. All in all, just like a great mix, and the audiobook is fantastic. Love the narrator. Then we have The Husbands by Gramazio. This book made it on my last year's best of list, and I really enjoyed the audiobook here as well. So the narrator is Miranda Raison. I coincidentally saw that she also narrates Lessons in Chemistry. So that book I already read as like an actual book, but if that is still on your TBR, then why not check out the audiobook? So for the husbands, this one has such an interesting premise. Okay, imagine that you're going home and suddenly out of the attic comes a man that you've never seen before in your entire life, and he claims that he's your husband. This is what's happening to our main character. It's absolutely bizarre, and she discovers quickly that if she sends that husband back up to the roof, another one emerges. So she goes through these different husbands, and every time her life changes. So it's like a husband will emerge and suddenly the photos that will change on her phone, and turns out like all her friends and family know him. So it's like her entire being is prompted into this parallel universe where she is married to this man. There is a lesson in there somewhere about, you know, what a perfect partner is. Who do you want to be married to? Who do you want to spend your life with? But it's also about herself. A fantastic story. I listened to this in very little sittings because I just didn't want to turn it off. I wanted to know what happens next. Just wonderful. I think the writing translates beautifully into a narration. I also want to recommend Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq. So this is very special because this author narrates the book herself, and she's on top of that an Inuit throat singer. So you actually get to hear some throat singing in the audiobook. The main character is a girl that grows up in Nunavut in the 70s, so under very, very harsh wintry conditions. And this is about her connection to nature, to her community, to her family. But it's also a lot about violence, about alcohol abuse, and there's a lot of very raw and extreme things that happen to this person. The narration is fantastic. Sometimes it even sounds like it's a poem because there's this tonality to her voice. It is great, and especially the throat singing, this is something you don't get if you just read the book, so highly recommend this as an audiobook. Another fantastic audiobook is Challenger Deep by Neal Shusterman. The narrator is Michael Curran Dorsano. So this is technically young adult, but I will tell you that it doesn't read very young, and this is a perfect example of how powerful young adult can be, especially because of the topic. So our main character here is teenager Caden Bosch, and he's on a ship headed to Challenger Deep, which is a very, very, very deep part of the ocean. He is going through something. He is going through serious mental health issues at this moment, but it is currently undiagnosed. He and his family don't really know yet what it is, but in his head, he is on a pirate ship sometimes. This is a blend of what is happening in real life and what is happening in his head. Especially in the beginning, it is muddling and confusing, and there's this mix between real life and these dreamlike sequences. Is he part of a mutiny on a ship, or is he just a teen who is having trouble in school? Especially because we're kind of in between these two worlds. Sometimes it feels very dreamy, but then it's also kind of scary. It translates very well into this audiobook narration. It is worth noting that this story is heavily inspired by the author's own life because his own son went through this. Lastly, I have a book that I want you to put on your Christmas reading list because this is a Christmas themed rom-com book. So it's Snowed In by Catherine Walsh. It's narrated by Roisin Rankin and Colm Gleeson. So these are two narrators because we get two perspectives in this book. And the setup is pretty easy. We have Megan, who dreads coming home because years ago she was an active member of the community, but then left her fiance at the altar. So she's kind of this town pariah. Or at least that's how she feels like. And then we have Christian, who's also going through his own thing. His family feels so bad for him that he doesn't have a partner. So they decide to fake date, in a sense. So they basically agree that during the Christmas holidays, while they're in their hometowns with their family, they're gonna be each other's plus ones for all of the Christmassy events. And chaos and romance ensues from there. While the premise sounds extremely hallmarky, this book is so much deeper than that. It's this perfect blend to me of Christmassy feelings, but actual characters with depth and not just, you know, these hollow stories. So This is everything that I want in a Christmassy romantic book. And yeah, I just really love the narration. I think it goes really well, and I believe that this could be the perfect book that you'll listen to on audio while, let's say, you're baking your Christmas cookies and doing your Christmas wrapping in December. So yeah, put this on their TBR. It's great. That was all the audiobooks that I wanted to recommend. I mainly use Libby to listen to audiobooks for free. So Libby is this service by Overdrive that you can access usually if you're in North America through your library app, so it's for free. If you, the viewer, don't use Libby but something else, please leave it in the comments down below, especially if you're from another country, just so that people can see what their options are. I know that there's also Libro.fm, which is a platform where you can purchase an audiobook, but I believe the money goes through an independent bookseller. And then there's also, is it Scribe? And I know that there's libraries that still offer to lend out physical CDs if you prefer to use a CD player. Don't forget to let me know what your favorite audiobooks are. If you have any recommendations for me, I love listening to them. And if you just want to let me know that you're still watching, then why don't you leave me some kind of audiobook related emoji? Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time.